Today, I'm going to show you if I was a campaign management company doing all kinds of posts and like TikTok, Instagram, and I'm managing a bunch of different influencers. This is what I would do to manage all those influencers very, very seamlessly. Because if you are a campaign company doing a lot of manual emails, then there's just a matter of time before something's going to slip through the cracks. So let me show you exactly what I would make. Here we have an influencer campaign tracker, which I whipped up in Smartsheet, my favorite platform of all time. And so if I was a campaign company and I have, let's just say I have 100 influencer projects that are going to be happening, you want to just open this tracker and know exactly who the influencer is, all the high level details here. So this is an example that I had for me with my handle. So you'd have the name, the contact information. Maybe you have a contract linked in here for quick reference. What brand is this influencer working with? What's the campaign name or ID, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so we have that summary information there. Then, if that influencer is doing multiple posts, we need to be tracking a bunch of key milestones, data, metrics, a lot of different things for these individual posts. So each row is a post that this influencer would be posting with this brand. And I just did like a really quick, like this is my handle workflow nomad. So I just said WFN with an ID number so that if you are having to cross reference a bunch of different posts, you have an ID so you can quickly narrow it down with that number. This is not necessarily something you need to be sharing with that influencer, but maybe like an internal ID number, just, for organization. Then you could have like a detail. So that could be like a little bit of a description of what that post is. So if it's like a pre event post, a review post, something like that, could have that in that details column. Next, we have the status of this post. So for anybody that's not familiar, there's multiple stages throughout posting. So first is a concept approval. So the influencer comes up with the concept for the video, and then that brand needs to approve it. So that is kind of like the first bucket. Then we have content approval. So once the concept, the idea has been approved, then the influencer needs to actually make a video, and that is your content. So that content will be sent again to the brand. That brand would approve it. So you see, we got a lot of automated approval workflow possibilities here. Like that's just where my mind is at. And again, I think a lot of people are doing this via email, understandable. But, next year it's about to be 2026. So maybe we take it up a few notches. Okay, so then we got concept, we got content, and then obviously, like, we're going live. We're going live with that post. You need to make sure you have an approved caption. You need to make sure you have all the approved brand guidelines, everything like that, which honestly could be a nice thing that you put up in the summary so that if you do end up giving the influencers this, sharing this with them, they have that all linked in a one-stop shop. And you could even make a dashboard for that influencer so that they don't ever have to log in or anything, but they can go to their dashboard and they have a toolkit basically of the brand guidelines as well as some nice troubleshooting guides. So if they're having trouble uploading their videos or getting the ad code, you could have a whole portfolio of resources for your influencers. So again, less emailing. You're just like making that toolkit once and then it's there forever. Just throwing that out there. So then once the content is actually posted, influencers need to gather metrics. So usually you wait, 24 hours or whatever amount of time you need to wait. And then the influencers need to get those metrics and then also send them to the brand. So we have a few things at play. We have some moving parts here. This is how you're going to want to manage it. So we have this overarching status that's going to change based on everything that's happening in the columns to the right here. But when you open this up, you can see very quickly, oh, they need a revision. They need to update some things on Event Story 2. This is scheduled to go. This has been approved. All we need to do is like basically schedule it now. Oh, this one's been posted. So again, it's giving you that high level view very, very, very quickly and not via an email chain. This is going to show the platform, the post type, again, just really nice details to have. And then we have the concept due date. So within the sheet, you're going to have different due dates. And what this is going to allow us to do is send automated emails based on things that are due and other criteria in the sheet. So basically, if a concept due date is coming up, but the concept has not been submitted yet, it can email that influencer like every day until they submit it. But having these dates in there allows us to create that kind of automated functionality within here. What I'm thinking is, and I kind of show you on the content on the next step, is like, okay, the concept is due, an email goes out to that influencer, hey, you need to submit your concept because your due date is October 7th. They get an email. Through that email, they can submit their concept, and then they could also check a box that talks to the sheet. And they don't even have to log into Smartsheet to do this. They can do this all via email where they check a box, and I'll show you once I get to that. So they click, okay, concept submitted. Again, there's an automation that records when did they actually submit that concept. So that'll record the date for you. And again, this is good for contractual reasons so that you have these dates and you can say, hey, you didn't submit it on time because you have this approved process. It's not getting lost in the email chain. Then we could build in another workflow where, okay, the concept was submitted. Instead of the campaign company having to physically, okay, now I got to write an email. I got an email from her. Now I got to write an email to somebody else. When that concept comes through, it can automatically send an approval workflow to the brand and say, hello, brand. And we could put the brand contact in here and so that it references automatically like their first name. Hello, so and so. This influencer, Emily, uploaded their concept for the campaign Engage 2025. Please review, add any comments, and either approve, decline it, or ask for a revision. So again, that brand doesn't necessarily even have to log in. They could get an email and from that email, open up a form and select approve, decline, revision needed, and add comments if they need to. Once that brand actually approves it, we can also record that date. And again, I think this would be great because if you automate this process, there's no time between the influencer submitting the concept and the brand getting that in their inbox for approval. So, like, literally no time because we're automating this with computers. It's almost 2026. The next thing, which I'm going to show you a great example on, is the content due date. So, again, the idea has been approved, but now we need to actually make a video. So, this is what it would look like essentially. And I've ran like four different times. So, ignore the multiple emails, but we could have a custom subject. Hey, reminder to upload your content. We could put your company name here, like insert campaign company name. And then what it'll look like is it can say, hi, please update your content, blah, 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 before 10:13. Click this button, upload your video, check content submitted, thanks. And let me just show you what this looks like on the back end, because this is so easy to set up. And we could run this on a schedule. I just did it once for this purpose. But if you look at my email subject line, which is fully customizable, and also your body text is fully customizable. So once you build one template, it's going to automatically run this automation. It's just saying, hey, pull whatever the influencer name is, say, please upload your content for whatever the post name is before whatever the content due date is. And it can do that for all the rows in your sheet and based on whatever criteria we need to build out. So, like, when should this trigger? Should it trigger a few days before the content due date, etc.? Like, we can totally customize that. And then here are the steps that they need to take. And then here are the specific fields that we want them to see. We don't want the influencer to see a bunch of different fields. We literally just want them to see these few fields. And then what happens is if you click this open request button, It opens me up to a form. I don't have to log in. I don't have to do anything. We can lock down actually all these fields that you see. So the only things the influencer can do is upload their file here. So they can upload their file and then click content submitted. And then they're going to submit the update. And then what that's going to look like, we just watch it go through. So I'll refresh. And then you see that this changed to checked. And my file is now right here. So that's how it works. And then we could even do an automation that records the date that this was uploaded. So that would be automatically recorded. I just did it manually for the sake of this example, but that could be automated. And again, the exact time that this content gets uploaded in here, it could also send it to that brand for approval. And that brand could approve, decline, ask for a revision. So again, it's just very seamless. There's no time in between these steps between like getting the information and sending it to somebody else for approval. You're capturing key dates and timelines and then just kind of scrolling through so that you can kind of see an example of these columns. We could have okay, final approval day, when has the brand like tied the bow on this post basically? Other details like when is this supposed to go live? What was the date that this was actually published? And then, there's a lot of things around approved captions. We need to make sure that all of these granular details are added. You could even have like, here's the approved caption, insert here with all your hashtags. But then, like if anybody is coming in this sheet, okay, yes, I've made sure as the campaign company that I have communicated what the approved caption is. And also, you could probably just have request the exact approved caption from that brand and have it show up in here so that, again, you're not like being the middleman. You're just like managing the system, looking at the overarching structure, making sure things are smooth. You could put in a link to a Drive folder if that's how you want to do it. I think having the actual files in Smartsheet is going to be better though because then it's just a one-stop shop. Because a lot of times things get put in the wrong Drive folder or the permissions on the Drive folder aren't shared to the right people, things like that. So it's almost better that you just kind of keep it all on Smartsheet and then you can go exactly to everything related to this specific post and to this influencer is in the sheet and you can dive in and you can say, okay, I need to see the actual post. You can have different versions. So instead of having 10 versions in here, every time you upload a new version, it'll just pop up and you can upload a new version and then it'll say version 2. So you have a version history. Other things you can do within Smartsheet as well are you could even have the metrics posted in here too. So I haven't gotten that to that yet, but basically, have the metrics been uploaded? That could be another request to that influencer to submit screenshots of their metrics on their posts and then check this box. And again, they're going to just do that via this like update request. And that could also be automated. And how we would automate that is we could say like, so many days after whatever the live date is, maybe 2 days after the live date, this is due. So this could just be a column formula. So based on whenever day goes live, it automatically calculates 2 days after that. Super duper easy to do. And that's how we can know when to schedule that automation. We can say 2 days before metrics due date, send if metrics have not been uploaded or whatever, then send them a reminder. And then again, instead of having an email chain, if you're managing multiple posts for one influencer, instead of having like a huge email chain that has all this information that's not necessarily relevant to one specific post, you would have it on these rows. Another really nice feature in Smartsheet is the proofing. So this is really, really great. Not necessarily for videos. I've seen it for like posts specifically. So let me show you an example. Okay, so I'm just going to do this. This is actually an AI headshot. Don't tell anybody. But let's just say I need to make an edit on this post and say I'm wearing like some kind of logo that I'm not allowed to wear in a video. You could literally click that and then add a note, blur out logo. And then that person can get an email. they can go into here and then they know, okay, blur out logo. Again, if you don't think the influencers are going to come into here, you don't necessarily need to do that, but just another nice tool to have and very streamlined. It's very clear. There's not a lot of questions. One thing that I haven't mentioned, and I don't really have a good demonstration of it, but I'll just kind of talk about it high level, is that if I'm a campaign company managing 20 campaigns, and maybe that's 100 posts, you could have a portfolio level dashboard where you could see, make sure everything's on time. Things could get flagged as behind. Hey, this needs review. So that's the beauty of having a standardized platform like this with a system with dates and metrics, because then you can see it and manage it at a bird's eye view. But then you can also get so granular and your communication is much more streamlined. There's not confusion. You're hitting your deadlines and there's no stress. So this is what I would do if I was some kind of campaign company, influencer campaign company. This is how I would manage it. And let me know if you have any questions, if this is a helpful tutorial for you. But I wanted to show you, my take on Smartsheet in the wild. I thought this was such a great use case. So drop any comments on any questions you may have or things on other videos that you would like to see.